Hello YouTube, welcome back over to GamingHouse. If you can't tell by the tone of my voice, it's the tone of disappointment. Because I'm bringing you the review of Evolve, which was rather a huge disappointment for myself compared to the beta, but let's go ahead and just start getting into it, get it done and over with, so that I can spit out this taste of despair from my mouth. For those that don't know, for whatever reason it may be, Evolve is developed by Turtle Rock Studio? Turtle Rock, not to be confused with Turtle Beach, the headsets. But they were the same people who also made the original Left 4 Dead. And Evolve was also published by 2K. The setting of the game is an multiplayer focused, it's not multiplayer only per se, but asymmetrical combat between 4 hunter players and 1 monster character. The story of Evolve is told through the evacuation game mode, which is 12 hunters are called in and hired to come to this planet to help exterminate monsters that are essentially wiping out the human colonies on there. These 12 hunters are spread out amongst 4 classes, which are the Assault, which focus primarily on damage, Support, which deals in supporting abilities such as airstrikes or shielding sometimes, the UAVs, and being the secondary character to dish out damage. The Trapper, whose primary focus is essentially to track down the monster and trap it in a bubble to force close quarters combat with the monster. And the Medic, whose sole goal is to, well, be a medic, such as reviving your teammates, and also, depending on who you're playing as, creating weak points in the monster or slowing them down. On the monster side of things, they have 3 monsters. First one is the Goliath, which is essentially a hard-hitting monster, focuses on dealing out damage from close quarters to about mid-range. Next you have the Kraken, which looks like Cthulhu, essentially, if you ever hear anyone say that, who is an aerial monster that's able to actually take off into the air and get height advantage over the hunters and deal out damage from afar. And finally you have the Wraith, which is your sort of stealthy-like monster, able to use decoys, go invisible, snatch people from afar, and pull them away from the group. And that pretty much sums up your starting monsters. Now, in conjunction with Evacuation, it covers pretty much all your game modes, which encompass Hunt, which is a pretty much straight deathmatch. The monster goes out, hunts, tries to evolve. Once it reaches stage 3, it can, instead of trying to kill the hunters, it may go after the power plant or other important objective in the area and destroy that instead of killing the hunters, but likely when you reach stage 3 you're going to kill the hunters anyway. Nest features the hunters dropping into an area where the eggs of another monster, which is essentially only the Goliath unfortunately, are spread around the map, and their objective is to destroy all eggs and any minions that spawn from them, or to kill the monster. This adds another aspect to the game where now the hunters may not have to face 1 monster, but 2 or more if the monster chooses to hatch the eggs. The rescue game mode has the hunters now going after humans for an objective for a win, instead of trying to kill the monster, while the monster focuses on either killing the hunters again, of course, or trying to kill as many survivors as they can, forcing a win in their favor. The final game mode, which is only available in Evacuation, is Defend. Defend has the hunters defending 3 objectives for a set amount of time, while the monster's objective is to merely destroy them. The hunters may win if the time limit reaches 0, or if they kill the alpha, and in my opinion this is the most fun game mode as it forces conflict always with the monster, even though the monster does start off as a stage 3. For those that don't fancy the versus hunt mode or the versus evacuation, there are other options available. You're able to play through solo as the monster or hunters with AI teammates and an AI monster if you so wish, and there's also a co-op evacuation. Getting into some of the good points of the game, the CryEngine makes this game look beautiful, the environments are lush, pretty looking, as well as the character models. Fortunately, you do not get to enjoy those as much due to the fact you have to be running around most of the time. The moments before a game, you show up in your dropship and you drop into the arena, as so to speak, and that is actually really cool kind of feeling just to drop in and start the hunt right away for the monster, along with the additional little quips that you may be familiar from the Left 4 Dead series between characters just before dropping in. The monster gameplay is fun and fulfilling, depending on of course how well you do with the monster, or if you're just playing solo for enjoyment anyway. And now, finally getting into some bad sections of the game. Part of which really deterred me from playing the game a whole bunch, as well as causing House of Thieves, my other partner in crime that got the game, to actually trade his in within the first week. And the first few things on the list are, of course, the day one issues of trying to find matches and such. We've had issues within the first couple of days of trying to find matches. It would normally just throw us in a match by ourselves, especially in particular for us trying to play the co-op section, and that of course isn't very fun when you need a full team for those things. In addition, the beta to us actually played smoother than the game at release. Particularly the AI felt balanced back in the beta when trying to play the evacuation co-op mode, as opposed to trying to play it now where we both feel as though the monster has a lot more hidden buffs and simply slaughters us and makes flawless, no mistakes whatsoever, besides occasionally falling through the map. Some of the features of the game also kind of turn around and bite the game in the ass while trying to play it, such as, again, as mentioned in the beta, match length varies very much from games. You're going to have matches that easily wind down within the first 2 minutes because you usually found the monster, or they're going to drag on forever because you're having difficulties trapping the monster, fighting the monster, or they just know how to play the monster period and are good at moving around without you actually tracking them down. Another feature that turns around to bite it in the butt is actually on the hunter side, because so much teamwork is required for hunters. They work more as a one single machine, with each class being a cog in a machine, and if one cog breaks, the entire machine breaks down. And this isn't particularly necessarily a fault on their part, but more or less due to finding people to play with that are competent in their roles, such as medics actually paying attention and healing instead of running off trying to do their own thing, trappers actually trapping the monster without actually letting it get away first, or people wandering off and getting themselves killed by the various wildlife in the area. Another bad feature, which is kind of a shoot in the foot, I'm surprised because this was in the beta and all that as well, but if you're not playing with a full team, and or say you're playing with only 2 people, like yourself and a friend, it locks you out of being the monster, which being the monster is arguably the most fun part if you do not have a team with you. And of course the final bit to talk about, which is the thing that everyone focuses on mostly, is the fact that Evolve is apparently going to be a large DLC-focused game with monsters and hunters included in the season pass, as well as possibly additional monsters coming in, more maps and everything else, but the maps and game modes are actually going to be free to prevent a division amongst the multiplayer community there. And there are, of course, day one microtransactions, which are the actual thing I'm going to get into, as I don't mind DLC and all that if it's correctly implemented, and of course maps and everything are free, but the fact is that we have about 2 skins for each class for their weapons and or gear, as well as, I think, 3 monster skins available for each monster, all on day 1, whereas the only amount of skins and everything unlockable to us on day 1 are 1 skin, which I could let slide for day 1 DLC transactions if they had given us more skins to unlock, which unfortunately they do not. We get 1, so that is a big no. Don't do that. Stop it. Bad. A final thing to mention before getting to the final verdict, because I realized I forgot to mention it before, is the jetpacks in this game suck dick. For something in the future, they would have invested better in jetpacks. They feel more like you're at a dog at the end of a leash, and you try, they try to walk faster than the person walking them, and then they of course gotta pull on the leash and it jerks them back. That's how it feels with these jetpacks in the game. You try to catch up to monster and then it just yanks on the leash. Nope, you can't catch up. Sorry, not allowed. Understandably, though, of course, you get perks in the game that will, of course, increase jetpack recharge and all that, but of course, then you're factoring in choosing between that and many other perks that can benefit you in other ways. And of course, now getting to the final verdict of the game, which is, again, my opinion, how I see it from my experiences, everything in Evolve, which will vary, of course, because it is a multiplayer-only game, besides the solo option and co-op, of course, is a 5 out of 10. The game is not bad, so to say, but it's not very good either, with great-looking maps, characters, gameplay is fun, particularly when you are the monster, but unfortunately some of its other concepts, such as the teamwork needed and all that, when you actually implement actual players into it, it kind of falls flat due to the fact that they're not reliable, as opposed to if you have a full team of friends or so, if you have that many friends to play the game with. And of course, if you do have friends that actually play this game, I would actually say that the score would easily go up at least 2 points, up to a 7 out of 10 at least, if you have a full team or at least 4 people to play evacuation with or custom games. As for whether or not to actually get the game now or so, it's rather hard for me to say without being a little bit unbiased, as of course I played the beta and for whatever mythical reason I had a lot more fun with House of Thieves playing the beta than I did now. So if you are going to get the game, I'd say definitely at least hit up a couple friends, kidnap them maybe, make them get the game as well, so at least you're rolling in with a full team of people to play the game with as opposed to relying on randoms and other people and having the game be a rather bad experience due to incompetence on other players. But that is going to end the video here now, of course. So as always, like, comment, subscribe, share the video if you like, all those fun YouTube kind of things to do that everyone else tells you to do, and I tell you to do because reasons. Reasons and reasons alone. And as always, you can always blah 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 blah. I can't talk anymore. You're welcome to come back over to GamingHouse for more gameplay and commentary.